Good morning and welcome to a Tadpoll, a rainy Thursday morning. Boy, wasn't that a nice rain, and still raining just a little bit, we understand, but that's the kind of rain you like to have. You don't like to have 6 inches in 5 hours, something like Hill City's had a couple of times this year. Nice rain out there, and I know it hurts the harvest situation. You can't get out in the fields, but you always look at the fall crops. I've had a lot of farmers tell me they never turn down rain. You always take rain when it's out there. Anyway, guests this morning, we're going to be talking with Justin Heinzen about youth football. Also, Sarah Rudd will be coming back. We may have Dorothy here. I don't know whether they're going to have Toto or not, but we're going to have Dorothy, maybe some of the others. Ken Rogers, representative from the area, is going to be joining us this morning also to talk about what's happening in the legislature and what the Supreme Court decision on education and how that's going to be handled maybe next winter when they reassemble after the first of the year. And Ken's going to be coming on. We'd like to thank those sponsors to make it possible for us to come in here and do this show for you every Thursday morning. And of course, during the wintertime and on special occasions, we do something on a Saturday. But anyway, Justin's with it. Justin, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about youth football now.
Youth football.
You know, 101 degrees, you don't think about football, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming, isn't it?
It's right around the corner. We've got our youth summer football camp this coming Saturday on the 7th from 9 to 11 at the old high school football field. We'll have about 40 to 45 athletes taking part in that camp.
Wow.
This coming season, we'll have a roster size of about 55 athletes total.
Wow.
Between the 3rd and 4th grade combined team, a 5th grade team, and a 6th grade team.
So the three different teams.
3 different teams.
Wow.
Last couple of years, we've been shuffling back and forth due to some numbers. At the 5th grade level, we've combined 5th and 6th grade at the 6th grade level a couple of years. But last 4 years, the program has really grown tremendously.
Sure, yeah.
We were very fortunate. 4 years ago, my brother-in-law, Aaron Miller, when he was in charge of the program at the time, and Dennis Kazee did a lot of fundraising, we completely purchased a entire new equipment set for the team. Brand new helmets, top of the line, Zenith Youth model, shoulder pads, pants. So we've got a very, very nice equipment set, which we wanted to make sure we invested in at the time for safety reasons.
Sure.
The kids nowadays, the helmets that my athletes wear, they are nicer than the football helmet I wore in college. They are very, very nice. So from a safety standpoint, we wanted to make sure we had an upgrade there. And then last 3 years, we've seen our participation numbers kind of tick up slightly each year. I think that with the success that the program has had, steadily increasing over the last 4 years, has really gone a long way. Over the last 3 years, we've had 5 teams all make the tournament. We're in the Pride of Kansas Football League, which is a statewide league, mostly western side, and we also include Burlington, Colorado. So I want to say there's 14 towns total in the league.
Wow.
So it's a really, really nice thing. Typically, we have a 6-game season every year. We have 3 travel games, 3 home games. We play all of our home games at the high school field, so that's nice for the kids to play in a big field like that.
Yeah.
And then the tournament every year, if you make it, is actually played on the Fort Hays State Field. So that's a pretty nice treat for the kids when they earn that to go out there and play on a college field.
Yeah, like the artificial turf. What are the kids where they see that? Hey, this is NBA or NFL on Sunday afternoon.
It's a nice treat for them to be able to do that. We performed very well the last 2 years in the tournament. Both teams took 3rd place in the tournament last year. We're on the right track.
Okay, now I'm Burlington. I'm sure Goodland, or maybe
Burlington, Goodland,
Colby,
Larnard. Colby did have a team, but I don't believe they were in the league last year due to numbers.
Really?
I think they may have had to switch to 8-man football. I could be wrong.
Really? Okay. Is Hayes in this one?
Hayes usually fields 2 to 3 teams. Great Bend, Larnard, Ellenwood.
Wow.
Hoisington. I wish Smith Center would field a team, but they don't. It'd be nice to have another closer team other than Norton.
Oh, yeah,
Norton's
right.
in the
You'd
league.
have to make the travel thing. How do you travel? Just the parents load up the
It's
vans and go?
pretty much individual travel. Some parents carpool,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, otherwise we don't like have a team bus or anything like that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it is a commitment
Yeah, sure.
because
Yeah.
the league's really good about having a short travel game, like mid-range travel game, and a long travel game,
Okay.
so you're not hauling
Sure.
3 hours every time. But yeah, you're going to have about at least one game. It's going to be about a 2-hour road trip one way.
Sure.
So
Wow. Okay, now your camp Saturday, what does that include? What was now? Do you do 40 yarders and stuff like they do like they do in the big shot?
what we'll do, we don't do a whole lot of conditioning at the
Yeah,
camp.
okay.
We'll do a warm up that'll include some calisthenics, some plyometrics, some static stretching. But then we'll go into the first half of the camp is individual agility drill, like skill set type of stuff. Where they'll be
Sure.
doing different movement techniques and that kind of thing. They'll be doing some sled work. We do have a really nice youth football sled.
Wow.
So
Gee.
they have the
They
benefit
move it.
of
They
that.
move it pretty good.
Yep. It's weighted for a youth athlete, so
Yeah.
it's really nice. It's at the correct height and level for them.
Wow.
We've got some really good O-line coaches on the team. I'd say one of the biggest improvements we've had over the last 3 years is that we have consciously tried to go out and get a coaching staff that is not only just dads. Our football coach dads are great, and we've had a lot of good ones. But building a consistency from year to year, you need to make sure you're keeping people there. So, Jevin Castle is part of that volunteer group. Cody Bogart will be this year. Miles Woods was last year. Chris Bruning is going to be on the staff this year as well. David Poe. So we've got a really nice coaching nucleus that's a good mixture of both dads and just volunteers.
Sure. Wow.
This will be my 5th year with the program, and yeah, it's a lot of
Sure.
fun.
Wow. Okay, how'd you get involved? Did you play youth football when you were young?
Oh yeah,
Did you?
I
Okay.
started playing when I was a 4th grader.
Where was that? Where was that?
I'm from Wisconsin originally. I'm from
Oh,
a town of Kenosha, which is
Okay.
about 100,000
Sure,
people, so
right.
a little bit larger town than Phillipsburg.
Yeah.
But yeah, I played from when I was 9 until I was 22.
Wow.
5 years at the collegiate level.
Where'd you play?
St. Norbert College, De Pere, Wisconsin.
Okay.
It's Division III, but it was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
sure, right.
And but it was just a great learning experience, especially at the college level. You really get to see people who are true professionals who have studied and learned something at such a high level. When you get put into not only just the playbook and the games, but the practices, the way the practice should go, the tempo, how scheduled it is, the expectancy of the effort involved, all of those things. Like,
Wow.
it's just such an eye-opening thing. You really learn, you really look back in your high school career and go, God, I didn't know anything about football back then. So
Wow.
it's nice to bring that to the kids.
Sure it is. And with your camp, and then will you give the ones who come to camp things to do between camp and football, maybe some exercises, so they kind of get.
Yep.
So when you open up your practices for football, that you have some conditioning already in there. Yeah.
Yep. The biggest thing, especially like you're saying with the heat involved, is we stress to the parents that their kids are outside at least playing, if not, working out in some capacity, just to be acclimated to the heat.
Yeah.
We do plan for heat injuries if we have one. We've got things in place at practice if we incur one.
Sure.
But
Right.
yeah, making sure the kids are outside doing their little running drills or push-ups or squats or whatever it may be goes a long way.
The older they are, the little well, obviously, because the attention span's different as they get older, I'm sure. And what have you found between the young ones and the older ones? They progress. It must be fun to
Yeah.
see them progress from
It
being
is.
able to do things.
And I think it's with the young ones, trying to hold their attention while they're learning something brand new is
Yeah.
probably the biggest challenge.
Right.
The first year I was in the program, I'll never forget. We had this one kid named Nicholas came up to me. We were doing a tackling drill, and a kid made a juke move on him, went around him. He's like, "Are you gonna teach me how to do that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "The juke move," and I'm like, Yes, we will teach you how to do that.
Yeah.
So just
Sure.
the basic little things
Right,
like that,
yeah.
where you're
Wow.
literally teaching them from the ground up. What foot to step with, what downhill means,
Yeah.
the gap numbers, and all that stuff.
Wow. See, I had back when we didn't have gap numbers, and then it was always hut 1 2. That goes way back. And you talk about helmets.
Yeah,
We still had
the leathers.
leather helmets. No, no, there wasn't any guard on it or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just leather helmets.
Yeah, the technology has definitely come
Yeah,
a
oh
long
yeah,
way.
sure it has. I
Just-
think that's been
Just from when I played college.
so that's been the big thing. I think they really stress the helmets too. I think.
Yes.
About that. So, okay, you just have to draw from Phillipsburg. You have an area that a boy can play from.
So, as far as the Pride of Kansas Football League rules go, if an athlete goes to school in that town, they have to play for that town. So, like,
Okay.
if you live in Norton, you couldn't play for the Phillipsburg
Okay,
program.
sure.
But anybody from Logan, Kensington, Kerwin, Glade, pretty much all of the counties, even Smith Center, because they don't have a program, they would be allowed to come up here and play for us.
Okay, all right.
And for that reason, we do actively send out information to the
Sure.
Kensington school
Sure,
school
yeah.
system,
Right.
Logan.
Yeah. You have quite a few come in.
We do. I think this year right now, I want to say we've probably got somewhere around 4 or 5 kids from Kensington and 2 or 3 kids from the Logan, one from Glade, and I think one from Kerwin.
Well, see, and that makes sense if you don't have it in your town, and go to where the town where the school is there.
Mhm.
So, what kind of formations? I got to ask this. Do you get?
So
You don't have any triple options or anything, do you? Do you have a triple option or anything
I
like
don't have a triple option. We do run. I get a little sexy at the 5th and 6th grade level, but
Yeah, sure.
we use the wishbone formation as our base offense.
Okay.
That being said, we don't usually play it straight up. We usually play with a heavy set with an offensive lineman, one set offset to one side or the
Okay.
other.
Uh-huh.
We have a trips formation. We're 3 wideouts.
Wow.
We have a pro formation, so 2 split out one way, 1 split out the other. Pro set backfield where the
Sure.
backs are side by side.
Yeah, wow.
We've got a wing set formation. I like to manipulate defenses based off of formation setup.
Sure. Right. Okay.
And
Wow.
and I just do that because I can create a lot of mismatches for
Sure.
the offense,
Yeah.
and it creates some confusion on the defensive side
Wow.
too. And we do have one specialized formation I call the Thundercat, which is basically like a updated swinging gate formation, which is
Okay.
pretty funny to watch when we break the huddle because 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen run off to the left with a halfback behind them, and the tight ends and the center are left in the middle. And most of the time, the kids on the defense don't really know how to react. You get a lot of like, "What do I do?" Look.
Right.
So if we
sure.
can get the play off before the whistle,
Yeah,
it's
right,
usually a
that's
touchdown.
yeah, right. So they have a chance to call a
Call
timeout.
a timeout.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It keeps them enticed and interested
Sure.
too.
The problem I always had, I was in my sports talk on a Saturday morning. That's when you were playing football. We may have to try to do a sports talk from down there this year, in this fall. We may try to
That'd
do
be
that
fun.
down there. Come down and do something, interview some of the kids, and before you have some games on Saturday, we may try to have you bring
Absolutely.
some of the older, just to talk about. So how many different teams you have?
We've got 3 this year. We'll
Okay,
have 3.
wow.
We'll have a squad of something close to 23 kids for the 3rd and 4th grade team, 15 to 16 kids on the 5th grade team, and about 15 to 16 kids on the 6th grade team.
What's the ideal number?
The ideal number for me, I would say, would be 20.
I was going to say maybe 22.
It's
11,
a
11 or
really
something.
nice number to start at, just
Sure.
because when you're practicing,
Or you have to.
you've got to have enough on both
Right,
sides. And the other part of that to me is more so the safety thing, because when you're talking safety in football, you're talking about 2 things: proper technique and conditioning. Obviously, you have to teach proper technique, which we really spend a lot of time specifically on just shoulder tackling technique.
Yeah.
For that reason, we have been very, I don't think fortunate, I think it's something that we have conditioned into the kids. We have not had a concussion in the program in over 3 years.
Wow.
So that's something I think
Sure.
I always tell people. I run the program for 2 people: the kids and the moms.
Mhm.
And the safety thing is big on the mom side for that
Oh,
reason.
sure.
I'm going to make sure
Yeah.
little Johnny comes home in one piece the way you
Sure.
dropped him off at practice.
Yeah.
So the technique thing, and then having 20 kids where you can sub in and out if somebody gets tired, because if you
Yeah.
get tired and you're fatigued, a lot of the times your technique suffers.
Sure.
So that to me is really
Wow.
15. It makes me worry, and that's more like a basketball team number for me.
Yeah.
Especially being from a big town where I never played on a team with less than 30 kids.
No.
But yeah, we'll be creative and we'll figure out how to keep
That's
everybody.
good. Some of the schools around here playing 8-man, they only have 10 kids out. It's really hard to practice if you don't have someone on the other side of
is.
the line there. It really is. So
Especially
it's
from a teaching standpoint.
Sure. Oh yeah. Right.
You know.
Because how do you line up 2 kids against
Yeah.
8? Or something.
Visualization's a big
Yeah,
thing.
it sure is. All right, very good. Well, we hope that things go well. Just what time is it again?
This coming Saturday,
Saturday,
from
yeah.
9 to 11.
Okay, if they haven't signed up, can they sign up,
They
or
can
can they
sign
sign
up.
up that morning?
Yep, they can sign up that morning. We'll open the I'm gonna call it the gates because there's no gate, but we'll be set up by 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And we will start checking people in at 8 o'clock or 8:15. I'm sorry. And if you have not registered for the camp to this point, it's $15 at the door.
Okay.
So yeah, and everybody gets a T-shirt if they pre-registered. If you show up that day, you won't be able to get a T-shirt because we have to order in. But
I've got to ask you, whose closet do you put all that equipment in?
we're very fortunate to have a good relationship with the middle school, and so we use the old high school field as our practice facility,
Sure,
and that small shed that used to be I think it was the concession.
Right. Yeah.
That's our equipment room.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
All right. So
It's kind of tight. We
Sure.
share it with the soccer program as well. They don't
So-
have a whole lot of equipment, but when you're housing enough helmets and shoulder pads and all the accessories for 60 plus kids,
yes.
it's a lot of stuff.
Wow.
We've probably got somewhere in the ballpark of $25,000 worth of equipment.
Wow. Well, we hope that things. We'll have you on before. Let's see. When's your first game?
Our first game is the first weekend in September. We start practice on August 20th. We practice 2 weeks, and then that third week we'll practice. We go to a 3-day practice schedule starting the season, and we play on Saturday that first week of September.
We'll figure out a way to have you on.
That'd be great.
Before talk about it. You know your schedule yet?
We do not. That won't
Okay.
be released until the very beginning, the first week of practice, because all the teams in the league, we turn in our initial roster, and they start to make the schedule, and then when we turn in a finalized roster that first week of practice, they'll finalize the schedule.
Sure. Okay.
That makes it a little tough,
Yeah.
because people, it'd be nice to be able to play them at weekend.
What I think is neat is Phillipsburg competes with Great Bend and Hayes. Those are lot bigger
Those are
schools,
big teams.
and you're competing in bigger towns, which mean they have more to draw from as
Yeah.
you're competing. I think that's great.
I think the biggest thing with that is 3 years ago, I noticed, I don't know, I'm not sure why it was, but our kids used to be intimidated by those two towns
Sure.
in particular for that reason. Because they usually had a couple of kids that athletically were very talented.
Yeah.
And at that point, I realized we've got to make a change in the program and start really focusing in on mental strength and hustle and belief.
Yeah.
Something I tell the kids, it's kind of like our little chant is hustle beats talent if talent don't hustle. So, I mean,
Sure.
like, we instill that into their mindset.
Right. Well, that
And they really have turned that corner.
and an attitude, I mean,
Yeah.
to go into that ball game,
Absolutely.
And I've seen, during all the games, I've seen a bigger school and high school, and the smaller school looks at the bigger school, watch in the warm-ups, and our eyes are big and all this, and all this. So it's
Yeah.
good to have that good.
It's been really positive change.
Okay. Well, Justin, thank you for coming
Thank
on.
you for having
I
me.
really appreciate it, and we'll have you on. And that's a great program to get involved.
It is. It's a lot of fun. And kids have a good time. They go out there and work their butts off.
Okay, fine. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Justin Heinz, we'll have him back on. We're talking about youth football. We're going to be talking about, I think, the Wizard of Oz next year. And reminder that the program made possible by all your friends at the Farmers State Bank in Phillipsburg, where interest begins the moment you enter the door. Interest in you, member FDIC. Mapes and Miller, it's not what you make, but what you keep. Mid-America Real Estate, providing the best homes in the area for over 40 years. Blossoms and Butterflies, making beautiful flowers a part of your life. Sign Solutions, your one-stop sign shop, so much more. Madison Motors in business for over 70 years, and Rogers Associates, your local trusted choice agency. They, among the sponsors, make it possible for us to come in here on a Thursday morning and talk about things. Okay. The Wizard of Oz. We're off
Ted.
to. Hi there. Good morning.
How are you?
Just fine, thank you. How are things going?
Great.
Okay. How are you?
I am very well, sir.
Have you been overseas lately? Or?
No. No, but I did finally start posting my China trip pictures on Facebook.
Really? Okay.
Only a year later.
Yeah. Okay, we have. We're here to talk about the Wizard of Oz. 1 week away, to
Right.
1 week and a day, right?
Right.
Start a week from tomorrow night's the first performance, 7:30 or 7?
7.
7 o'clock at the Huck Boyd. Since we talked to you last week, how have things come along?
Pretty good. We've got just a few details to wrap up in the set, and we've got a few more costumes we need to make. But I think that, all of the cast is making, great progress. Everything's coming along nicely. Lights and sound and all of that stuff is coming together. We're right on track.
Ready to go and
We will be.
what was the hardest costume? What's going to be the hardest costume to make?
I think the lion costume was a challenge.
Yeah.
I guess stuffing his tail was quite a job.
Yeah.
And when he's shed everywhere.
Yeah.
There's fur
Yeah.
everywhere.
There's fur all over the costume room.
Oh, and the courage is going to be all right there for the lion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are you down to now? I mean, you look like, well, we got a week and a day to get ready for this. You start about every night now? You're doing something about every night? Or?
Yes, from here going forward, every weeknight will be at the Huck Boyd.
Okay. And do you do a spatial, and I think we talked about this before, a particular part, maybe one act, or
Sure.
Are you trying to do it? Have you done it all the way through yet?
We have
Start to
not. We have
finish?
not done the whole show all the way through yet. The first time we do that will be Wednesday.
Okay.
So we will do all of Act 1 tonight and all of Act 2 tomorrow night, and then we'll do that again Monday, Tuesday. All of Act 1, all of Act 2, and then we'll do the whole show on Wednesday, and then we'll have a complete dress rehearsal on Thursday, and then we open on Friday.
Wow. Everyone excited?
I think so. I think they are.
Okay. Are you? What are you? Who are you in?
Oh, who would you cast me as?
Well, no, I'm not going to say anything.
He doesn't want to get it in trouble.
I am not going to put anything.
Of course I'm the Wicked Witch.
Well, I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say that. See, all right. Do you like being the Wicked Witch?
I actually really, really wanted that part, so
Okay.
I'm ecstatic. It's so much fun, and I get to channel my inner witch, and I've recruited more simian minions to my family because I've always considered my children my little helper monkeys.
Sure, yeah.
So I've just added more monkeys to my crew.
Okay. Now, if I were, you don't sing. Do you have a
No,
singing part?
thank goodness I don't have to sing or dance. I don't have to sing or dance.
Or
No.
dance, okay.
Yeah, she's one of 2 characters who gets out of the whole show without having to sing or dance.
Okay, well, the Oz Wizard's the other one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
You don't want to see Dave or I sing or dance.
What was the hardest part?
Being mean. I don't like to. No, that's not true. I love.
Well, I'd say it's not a character. You're not a character actress. Being the witch. I don't want to. I don't mean that. I had to say it.
I heard it all along from my children. The
Okay.
second that I announced that and they're like, "Mom, you were typecast."
Yeah, it's
And I'm
okay.
like, yeah, okay,
So
thanks.
so what is the hardest thing?
I think the most difficult thing is going to be the makeup, and I have no right to complain about that because the poor lion and the poor tin man have to put all that on. but they also have to take it back off and go back on as their original character.
This was- yeah,
Elmira
yeah.
does not go back on after she's the witch.
So you can just the whole time.
So I get to be her and then add my makeup, and then I'm good. I don't have to worry about taking it off in a hurry and coming back. So it'll be a challenge, but I think everybody's going to do just
Do
fine.
you know why you were the Wicked Witch?
I don't know, Sarah, why am I the Wicked Witch?
Wicked, the
It worked
Broadway musical Wicked.
Do you know why you're
That
wicked?
that tells
Oh.
that is before with the wizard, and that's how the Wicked
I have not
Witch got.
seen Wicked. I
that's
have
why
not,
you're bad.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay, do tell, enlighten me. Why am I bad?
You know, I saw it. I saw Wicked. And I did not like it, which is I thought I'd like it. But you know why? What is it? It's a love. It's a love thing, and it didn't that why she turned bad? Didn't she have?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, I think
You're
she.
the only one.
Okay, I think she with another one of the Wick, someone else.
Wasn't there a movie too that was along the same basis that had James Franco and Mila Kunis, and
I don't-
she was betrayed. She was in love and she was
Well,
betrayed.
yeah, she was betrayed, and that's what
And-
happened. That's how she
and
got
she
me.
just
She used to be
became-
wonderful. She was really a nice witch, and
Yep,
then
and she
then she
yeah, her
changed.
heart hurt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a love. Yeah, and she was, dumped. I think, and
I think that may
Okay,
be
so-
it. That could be.
all right. I want to see you disappear when
When I
Dorothy
melt?
throws the water. Yeah.
When I melt, it will be something.
Okay. Has you got that figured out?
Lots of fog.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Lots of fog.
Okay.
That's
a
gonna
lot
be
of
a thing
fog.
that happens, yeah.
Great. All right. Did you grow up watching Wizard
Well, of
World?
course.
I think everyone.
Even though I grew up in Nebraska, we still watched the Kansas movie
Yeah,
there.
well, have you ever counted I think if I said this, how many times Kansas was mentioned in the movie? I'm going to do that sometime.
I've
quite
never
a few
counted. Nope.
It's quite a few times. All of a sudden it's in
Imagine.
there. They throw the word in there.
No, but I grew up in Omaha, and that's the balloon. That
Sure,
he
right. The
had.
balloon for the Omaha State Fair. Right, when he goes up and leaves at the end.
So
And leaves her there with the ruby slip. Do you have ruby slippers?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course we do. How can we do Wizard of Oz without ruby slippers?
you know who's really stealing the show though?
No.
Toto.
That's what I want to ask about because how's Toto doing?
Oh, she's great. She follows Dorothy everywhere.
Really?
It's my dog.
Really?
Yeah, it's her dog. So,
Mind you?
Huh?
oh yes,
Read your minds, mind you?
She just
Okay.
follows me around on stage.
Wow. I gotta ask, does Toto pull the curtain back? You probably don't know what when he is in there paying no attention to that man
We-
behind the
we
curtain?
we kind of fudged that a little bit.
Well, I saw it in Junction City, and they just had a stuffed Toto, and they kind of had to do the same thing
Sure.
there to do that. So that's amazing. Well, that's not the dog's real name, though, is it?
No, her name is Scarlet.
But does she answer the Toto though? Yeah.
She just follows me. I
Okay.
don't actually know.
Yeah, she does. I don't think she cares a lot what name we call her.
Okay.
She just
She
wants
just
to be where
follows-
Sydney is.
That's neat. That makes sense. Do
Yep.
something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I loved when the other night when she laid down. Toto just laid down right next to her, went to
Wow.
sleep, and was just like, What's going on? I don't even know. I'm just here laying next to my mom. Whatever.
Yeah.
That's great. I think it's amazing.
gonna
that-
work out really
That's
nicely,
going to
I
work
think.
out real nice there. So, are you in charge of what's going to do next year? Or?
No. Talk to that lady.
I think. Well, Jessica's here, and you're going to be able to talk to Jessica. But I think Jessica's hoping to direct next year.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, not me. No, that was a one-hit wonder, honey. I'm not directing again. That's
Really?
no.
She
no.
says
Jessica,
that.
Jessica,
She
that's
says
yeah.
that.
I was okay. Excuse me. But you like acting, though?
Oh, I'm too much of an attention person. I want all the accolades, and as a director, you don't get nearly as much praise and recognition
Sure.
for all the hard work that you do.
Yeah.
There is no way I would do a musical with as many
Yeah.
people as she has.
I know.
I don't know how she handles a cast of 50 people. It's
I
insane.
know it. I don't
And a
understand
dog.
that. That's a good job there. and everything.
She's a seasoned pro now, though. What, this is your 4th year?
Tom Sawyer, Seussical, Little Mermaid, yeah. It's the fourth one.
Fourth musical.
Fourth out
Yeah.
of 6.
She's got it. She's got it down.
Are you gonna do one next year though then, or is Jessica gonna do
I'll
it?
probably help Jessica.
Have you made up your mind what it's gonna be yet?
I'll let her spill that.
Right. Is it gonna be a good one? Well, they're all good.
I was
mean,
gonna say,
obviously.
which ones are not good, Tad?
Yeah,
Tell me.
Have you
which
ever
ones are
seen a
not
show
good?
that
well, Wicked, like Wicked. Yeah,
Have you seen a show
lot
that
of
we
people-
have put on that has not been
No,
spectacular?
I know. I've seen every one. I was out of last year. I was out of town.
You missed Little Mermaid?
Yes, I missed Little
Oh my
Mermaid.
goodness.
Even I made Little Mermaid.
You know, I was out of town. Was
So
that
much
during
glitter.
Was that during the eclipse?
No.
It
I was
wasn't
out-
during that, no.
I was out of town because I wasn't able to come. But I did see the Beauty and the Beast. And I love that.
Yeah.
I flew all the way back from China to make it to Little Mermaid.
Yeah, any other trips planned?
No.
I talked to you about China. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Not in the works anyway. I mean, of course, I would love to.
Well, I
but
can't have you sing anything because you don't sing.
No.
Well, guess who that is?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll have her on. I want to hear you. Can you give me your? Can
But
you?
I don't have my hat. It doesn't work without the
You
hat.
have to have the hat on. Okay.
Oh, she's giving me the look.
Can you give me? You want me a little pretty? Can you do that for us?
Give me your yellow thing.
With the what?
Give me your
Your
yellow
folder.
folder.
Yeah. Can you do? You my little pretty? Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, man. It's okay. Go right ahead.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
All right. You did it. Fine. Thank you.
It'll be better in the show, I promise.
No, that
I have
was-
to
that
work
was-
up to it.
That was very good.
You can't just ask me to switch like that. It doesn't work.
Well, I will just ask you.
Rachel, I'm glad you're amused. Thank you.
Okay. All right, Dorothy.
Yes.
How did you get all involved in all this?
Well, I actually was asked by Jessica at school, since she's a para, if I was trying now.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know if I would. Then my friends, Jeremy, who's the scarecrow, convinced me to do it, so I tried out.
Is this the first time? Is this your first time to be on the stage?
I was a villager in The Beauty and the Beast, but I've never had a big part like this,
Okay.
so this is
Wow.
new. Yeah.
You got a big part now. What's the most fun thing you've had?
The cast, they're like a family now, so it's so fun to get to hang out with them every day. It's just a lot of fun.
And I've got to ask your name. I didn't ask
My
you.
name's Sydney.
Okay. And as Dorothy, how many different songs I know you sing
Like every single one.
every one of them. Okay.
Most of them, yeah.
Off,
I don't have a big part in all of them, but like I sing it. Most
Well, you have a big when you with
Yeah.
the rainbow. That's your thing there.
Yeah.
With the tornado and boy, don't they make in the movie? Don't they make Kansas look terrible with all drab and no color until you get in the house and you come down and we aren't in Kansas anymore, right? Does you want to sing something for us this morning?
Sure.
What would you like to sing?
Over the rainbow. I
Oh,
suppose.
good. One of my favorite
She seems
top
so
five songs.
enthused.
Okay.
I've never sung on the radio. So. When all the world is a hopeless jumble and the raindrops tumble all around, heaven opens a magic lane. When all the clouds darken up the skyway, there's a rainbow highway to be found, leading from your window pane to a place behind the sun, just a step beyond the rain. over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, why can't I? If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why, oh, why can't I?
Wow. And you can see that starting tomorrow night with a great job there. That's just excellent. And hearing you sing that, and again, we go back to the movie where he said, then you come by on your bike. Do you ride your bicycle on stage? Do you ride your bicycle on stage?
Are you kidding?
Okay.
I have a bike. I'm not riding a bike.
You don't ride, but you get in there.
Yes.
You take Toto and
Of course I steal Toto.
put her in
Toto
that little-
doesn't like
It's
it.
my job.
Yeah.
But I'm personally hurt that Scarlett is starting to not like me.
Really.
Because I have to take her and hold her up and say, tonight we feast on deviled dog.
Yeah.
And she's looking at me like, why are you doing this to me?
Oh, but had you heard that song before?
Yes.
You'd heard it's. I think I read it's one of the top 3 songs of all time from movies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a great song there. And
Didn't she do wonderful? She just does a wonderful job.
I'm looking forward to. I'm going to be there all 3 times. So I'm going to.
No pressure.
You know who else is here today? I brought a Winky.
You did?
I did.
Okay.
You asked me to bring a Winky, and I brought a Winky.
Okay.
He's outside right now.
All right, and go to the Oriole.
Oh, well, probably.
Okay. Okay. What grade are you in school?
I'm going to be a freshman.
A freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, you have some young, well, with the Munchkins and everything
Sure,
too.
yeah.
You have a lot of young ones, and are you in track and field?
Oh, I was in middle school. I'm not going to be in high school.
What do you do? Do you like sports?
Yes, I'm a volleyball player.
Okay.
I'm a dancer, and I'm a cheerleader.
Dancer, you going to be a pacer?
No, I do Studio A dance, but I'm on the high school cheer squad. so-
Okay, all right. Already on that cheer squad, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. I want to ask you a cheer. I don't need a cheer. You're here to talk about Wizard of Oz there. So what's your favorite part, I guess? Is there anything you really like of the whole thing?
The music, I really love
Music?
the music.
Okay. Is there any particular part where you get rid of the witch, or maybe you know, the lion, and the scarecrow and the Tin Man?
What's
you
your
know?
favorite part of the
My
movie?
favorite part is when the lion growls at my dog and I hit him in the nose.
That's right, and then he starts crying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
asks-
Oh, and he cries.
Oh,
Does he
oh,
cry
He
well?
gets- It's fabulous.
Oh yeah, and he takes his tail, and wipes his eyes.
Yes.
I think my favorite part of Brian doing the tail is when he's the last one in line after they steal the Winkies costumes, and he's all
Yeah.
batting at his tail
Yeah, right. Yeah.
as he's marching behind the other way. That's
Right.
awesome.
Going into
It
the
just-
castle, you mean?
yeah, it just
and then
cracks
the
me
tail
up.
doing all. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, We hope. Well, I know they're going to go well. So just I'm looking forward to seeing you and good luck. And I
Thank
won't
you.
break a leg thing. Thanks for coming on this morning. Okay. Who else? Who do we have?
We have Jessica and we have Winky.
Oh, Jessica's
So
there too.
we'll
Okay.
trade them out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Witch.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right.
He was super excited that he was here. After you, I did amazing, but I've never been up with.
All right. That's right. That's what you're going to do, Jessica. That's right. They were talking about that you were going to do the directing. You're
Yeah.
going to do that. Okay. Now, what are you this year?
I
In the
am.
Wizard. What are you?
I'm the assistant director and the stage manager.
So you don't have a part out there?
No, I'm just behind the scenes.
Oh,
this
she's
year.
doing plenty.
I know. I know. But behind the scenes thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How'd you get interested in? How have you done all of these? You've been involved in all of them too, Jessica.
I've been involved with several since I moved back to town, and so I just wanted to learn the ropes of directing, and I like to be the boss. So I was like,
Okay.
Sarah, teach me how to tell people what to do, and yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite part of doing this?
I really love working on the sets and seeing it all come together and watching it be built and be a part of just like making it real.
Oh.
Yeah.
Painting? You do a lot of painting?
Oh, there's a
going on?
lot of
A lot
painting.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are your sets coming?
They're really coming along. They've, yeah, we're almost done.
Yeah, we're
Really?
pretty close to done.
Who did the carpenter work?
Quinn Crable.
Okay.
He works
wow.
for Cornerstone Building out of Plainville.
Okay. All right.
So he was an incredible asset, and his three older children have come and they have helped paint and they have helped, measure and mark and like all the things, and they have just the Crables have been an incredible asset to to the production.
Is because there's a lot of scenery. Has that been a problem figuring out how to
Well,
move in and out? Or?
So we don't have a lot of wing space, and so we had to really think creatively about how can we change these scenes without having these giant set pieces that we have to move
Sure.
on and off, because it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of space and that kind of thing. So I think that we've come up with some pretty creative solutions for being able to change those scenes without without taking up a lot of wing space. And so you'll have to come and check out our solutions.
Yeah.
But we have some, and then and if you're interested, Tad, we'd be happy to give you a tour and kind of show you the mechanics of of how those things work.
When?
Because we have whenever you'd like. We're
Name
gonna be
a
there
time.
tonight. So
I'll
but there
be-
are some. Well, we're there tonight and tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday
I'll
and
be
Thursday.
next week. I'll be in Denver tonight. I hear.
Okay.
So I'm heading for Denver after I get through here. So I will come.
Yeah, sure, anytime.
Come
I mean,
over
we'd
anytime.
What
be
time?
happy.
What time?
We're usually there at 6:00.
6 o'clock.
Yep.
Okay, so I would like that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be great.
Because, like I said, there are some really cool, behind the scene mechanics about
I
how we
want
make
to
those
see
things
how
work.
that house gets in that tornado and how it lands on the witch. I really want to see that.
Okay, we'll show you.
Okay. Can I walk on the yellow brick road too?
Yep,
Okay.
as soon as I'm done painting it.
Okay.
I'm still working on painting the yellow brick road.
Okay. So I understand you're going to be involved next year. Maybe just,
Yeah, I have my sights set on directing next year, so
and is it you haven't decided yet what?
it's not official.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't. Let that. I can make some suggestions.
Oh, I would
Well,
love
let's
to
hear your
know.
suggestions. I'd like to hear.
I'd like to see Phantom, but that's really tough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Phantom. Or
Yeah,
Les-
especially without a fly system.
Yeah. Les Mis.
Talk about aiming high.
Yeah,
yeah. Les Mis would be another one too.
that's
Okay.
one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, the Les Mis would be.
Yeah.
That's great music in that.
Oh, yeah.
Mamma Mia.
That's a fun. Do you remember when we went and saw that in New York?
Yeah. No, I've seen that 14 times.
Oh,
you know.
really? I saw that on the tennis strip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right. We were back
Yep.
there. Oh, on the tennis trip, I was back there one time. I think that's when we went to my son and I went to see Wicked, and I
Oh,
don't-
really?
Yeah, I just didn't care for
You
Wicked.
didn't like it? I've never seen it.
No,
I want to.
everyone likes it. I thought probably the only person who hasn't liked doesn't like Wicked. It just anyway. Okay, so what do you do when you aren't involved with Wizard of Oz?
I do everything. During the school year, I work at the middle school as a para.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 children. I'm a foster parent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then I like to volunteer with the Arts Council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, so I stay pretty busy.
That's true.
How long, when did you get involved in this? Somewhere along the line you think, I'm going to do this.
Well, the Arts Council kind of started after I had moved away for college. And so I missed out on several years of it. And I was really bummed. But I would always come back for the plays to watch them. And my dad was really involved. And so I was like, oh, I'll come back and see my family involved. And then when I moved back to town, I was like, I'm going to be involved in this. So Beauty and the Beast was the first one that I was in. And then I had a small role in Little Mermaid. And then I was in The Odd Couple this past spring.
No, that was very good too.
So I've always enjoyed the theater, and especially musicals, my whole life. And I mean, I just love to watch musicals, and I love the theater. So
Sure.
I love being involved.
That's great.
Yeah.
To be, and it's great we have a facility here to
Yes.
do something like this.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah, we
great.
do have an incredible
Really
facility.
great. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. You're one of the soldiers at March.
Yes, I am a Winky.
He's the Winky General.
I'm a Winky
He's a big
General.
deal.
You're the general.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm coming out in public and saying that I'm a Winky and I sing the ding dong song.
Yep.
Oh, you sing a ding dong song.
Yeah, the ding dong, the witch is dead. Witch,
Oh,
witch.
yeah,
Yep.
right.
gets to
okay.
sing
You
it.
sing. Oh, you want to sing it for us?
No.
Okay.
You have to come to the show for that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Can you
paid
do the other
customer
thing? Can you do what the soldiers do? Or can
Yeah,
you
we
do that one?
We do that a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, the oh,
Come on. Yep.
Yeah, we do a lot of marching.
Yeah, right.
A lot of OEOing.
That's for some reason I remember that, and I was at a football game one time, a college football game, or maybe it was basketball. I don't know. And all of a sudden, the whole crowd starts doing that. And so, where'd that? Why are they doing that? It had something to do with one of their cheers, or the thing. That's the thing I think I remember most is them doing that, and then going in the castle, and then
Yes.
the ones going in.
Well, I never thought I'd be. I mean, this whole thing started kind of when they had the auditions.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to. My son is known, and I was trying to steal some of his glory. So,
Okay,
so I thought I'd go in and try out for Dorothy,
sure.
and then I didn't get it.
Dorothy?
I tried out for I
You
didn't get it.
wanted to be
I
Dorothy?
was trying out for Dorothy, but apparently they went with a more traditional little girl thing.
It was a great audition.
But then she called me on it and actually gave me well, she asked me, "Are you serious?" And in my most non-affirmative voice, I said, "Oh yeah." And she went ahead and gave me a role. And then
But you
I
were
found-
serious about wanting to be Dorothy.
No, I wasn't
I know.
serious.
Yeah. You had to dress drag,
been-
you
it
know
would've
that,
been a
you know,
whole
you have
different
to.
But you know what?
direction,
But I'm telling you, he like the entire audition, he was consistent. I
Was
mean, yeah, like he read for Dorothy, he sang, and like I mean, like he did everything as
Wow.
if he was really auditioning for Dorothy. And
That was a solid
genuinely,
audition.
I had to go to my husband who works with him, and I had to say, okay, look, I need to know what's really happening here because I'm happy to cast him, clearly not as Dorothy.
Yeah. You would have had to.
Well, it was either Dorothy or the adopted Munchkin, and there was no
Okay.
adopted Munchkin
Well,
role. So.
okay, that might be.
Yeah,
it.
it would have been like he would have been like the elf, you know, from the movie Elf.
Yeah.
And then it
Where
was her
he's-
husband that kind of coached me into doing it. So.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh.
actually, it was a favor. I mean, she did me a favor because I really wasn't intending on actually
Well, that's great.
trying out.
I'll have
And
to watch for
after
you.
doing it, it's kind of an education to see how it actually gets put together and see all the hard work that everybody's doing. And so I'm really grateful that she actually called me on it.
Sure.
And
Do you have? I know you can't fly them. Did you have flying monkeys over to hop around?
We do, yeah, we have flying monkeys, and they, you know,
Hop
they
around.
will hop around and they will have their, you know, the little monkey costumes and
They're very cute.
we don't
Yeah.
fly.
And then when the Wicked Witch is dissolves, then that's when you sing the song, and that's when the
I get to announce her death.
yeah,
I get
right,
to let
and
everyone know.
and then
she's
everyone's
dead.
happy.
Susan's dead. There's the microphone.
That's
Get a little wild in here.
Oh, right, that's happened several times. I hope it's still working.
Yep.
Still working all right. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to come Monday night.
Okay.
Great.
I'll stop by and
Sounds good.
I want a tour.
Okay.
That's great. And anything else? Is this your first time ever to be on
This
stage?
is my thespian debut. I get to.
Really?
Yep.
I never
Okay.
thought.
Here's a secret. He'll be back.
Really?
He will. Yeah.
Only if I could talk my son into doing it with me.
Okay.
So.
He'll be back.
Let's see. You could be Phantom.
Oh, there you go.
You could be Phantom.
I could see it.
I'm not sure about the singing part. Though. She actually, unfortunately, she gave me a mic.
Okay.
So,
Very
He's
good.
the Winky General. He
So-
has lines. We have to
Yeah,
mic him.
okay.
and there is one song, and I'm not really convinced that it's like beware audience.
And there are 2 numbers in this that aren't in the movie, right?
Well, the
Wicked-
Jitterbug
with-
is not in the movie.
Yeah.
And when the Winkies sing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead," that's not in the movie. And then I think that there are several kind of underscore
Sure.
pieces that that won't appear in the movie. So there's some variety there.
Was that under copyright for a long time? Is that why just lately that they've been able to do that? I mean, you
I
never,
really don't have any idea.
because you never saw it
Sure.
on stage. Now they did it at Hayes, they did it at Junction
Sure.
City here. All of a sudden, so maybe the copyright ran
Yeah,
out. that they could do
it may
that.
very well have become available recently,
yeah.
and so that would be why we're seeing a
Okay, all right,
resurgence.
very good. Well, I can't think of anything better I'd rather hear than the songs and all the great songs from there.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
Okay. All right. Anyone else outside?
No, this is
Okay.
it.
All right.
Well, being a general Winky, I'd probably make you an official honorary Winky if you wanted.
Okay.
You could be
There
an
you
official
go.
honorary
You can be
Winky.
an honorary Winky.
I would love that. I
you
can
go.
do that. I can do that. All right.
See, hey, if you're there for one of the performances and you want to just hop on stage with them, we'll let you.
There you go.
You can march behind them and you can sing the
Really?
Ori. We might even have a jacket for you.
Really?
Sure.
I'll see you Monday night on that. Okay. Well, you going to be here next Thursday morning for a last shot? Okay. All right. Very good. I'm really looking forward to this. And I hated missing last year, but I really enjoyed Beauty and the Beast. That's one of my when they sing the song, that Beauty and the Beast is really, and I thought it was done very well. They're
Yeah,
all,
I agree.
it's okay, very good. We'll see you Monday night.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And next Thursday morning.
Okay,
And you can
perfect.
bring everyone to whatever
right.
you want to do. Okay, fine. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dad.
Terry, or all right. I don't know whether Ken's out. Hopefully, we'll be talking to Ken Rogers. Reminder: Ken's out there. Okay. Reminder that the Tadpoll also brought to you by Phillips County Health Systems, Olive Bowie Memorial Chapel, Stephen E. Rust, our State Farm agent, Sonic Drive-In. Like us on Facebook to see our Sonic deals. Phillipsburg Chamber and Main Street, where the roads are paved with opportunity. Farmers and Ranchers Outlet, J&R HIVAC R. The First National Bank and Trust proudly supporting Panther Athletics. From our sales 40-yard delivery door, come see Jim and Terry at All of Bowie Furniture and Appliance. Provide gracious living for less. They have their big harvest sale going on right now. Price Family Eye Care, see Dr. Juneman for all of your eye care needs. Coombs Trucking, you call, we haul. Wyman Firestone, Tire Sales and Service, backing Youth of Phillips County, and Biggs Insurance for all of your auto, home, business, and farm insurance needs. They make it possible for us to do things like we're doing this morning, the Wizard of Oz and youth football, and Topeka is with us today. Ken,
How are
Ken,
ya?
thanks for coming on.
I feel I should have a screen or something. The man behind the
Behind the deal.
curtain.
Oh, no. Anything I ask you, you don't mind answering anything I ask, which
Well,
I
we'll do our
always
best.
appreciate. Oh, the main, and there's some other things I want to ask you about.
Okay.
The main thing that we wanted last week to come on, but you were busy,
Right.
and I had Mike on giving the education part. Were you surprised with what the Supreme Court handed down
No,
on the education? That's
no,
what- yeah.
no. I wasn't. I mean, it kind of went back and forth, Tad. once the way the session kind of ended up, I guess best case scenario, I thought, well, okay, they're going to say we as a legislature did our best. Fine, we're going to let this thing go. Kind of what happened is what I expected, where they said, okay, we'll give you a little more time. You are making some efforts, but we're going to hold on to the case, but giving us that deadline of April the whenever it is, we will be up to the last day again. That's the one thing, is whether it be the state legislature or the federal Congress or Senate. Once you have a deadline, a date, if you don't have a deadline, you just always continue to put it off.
Sure.
So, really, where we are right now is we'll wait and see what happens in a few weeks with the primary.
Oh, yeah,
and
that
then what
could
happens
change.
that happens in November, and then we'll gather again if I'm successful in winning re-election, the first part of December to pick leadership, and really both sides will do that, the Republicans and Democrats, and then kind of see where that goes, depending on who the governor is. Try to figure out what the kind of that full agenda will be moving forward. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. I think anybody that if somebody says they have the answer, then they really don't know what's going on, because there's so many unknowns. The one thing is, I would always encourage folks to continue to go to those retail shoppers, retail shops, spend money. Revenues are up. Sales tax collections, and
Yeah, it was up over what they were.
right.
What
Well,
was it? How many million?
320 at the end, $328 million more, so it was over $1 billion. And again, I think you and I have talked about this before. When they reset kind of the mark, where we had it set way too high, and so I used a good example of a guy. Me, I'm about 5'8". And if I was to do the high hurdles, I wouldn't be very successful. But you put me in the low hurdles, I might be able to do that. So I think that's what's happened. So on one hand, let's celebrate the fact the economy is turning around, and we as Kansans are doing our part to help the economy. But let's also be aware, we didn't set the goal that lofty. So let's not say, oh, we have all this extra money. Let's find either new programs or other ways to spend it, rather than taking care of our responsibilities and making wise investments.
Sure. And they meet. They have a group of people to meet and determine, estimate what they're all going to be. Well, for years they were way low, but now they estimated, and didn't they have to meet again and maybe raise it a little bit because their estimate was off? But how do they do that? They go on.
Okay, so
it's all
right.
predicted. I mean,
there's a number of different factors. There's economists from Wichita State, K-State, KU, and other factors. A lot of data. They just pour over the data, and folks from revenue, they all get together, and it's a board, and they come up with, based on trends, based on a number of different things, and that's how they come up with the number. One of the things that changed, Tad, was they were using, while we were off for so many months, is they were using the New York crude price. That's different than Kansas crude oil.
Yes,
and
it
so even if it's $20 to $40 a barrel difference, take that times thousands of barrels, all of a sudden now that adds up to lots of money. Just like former Senator Dirksen said, a million here, a million there, all of a sudden you're talking about real money. And that was one of the things that Representative Waymaster from Bunker Hill said, as he was looking at the numbers, being the chair of appropriations, he said, okay, because once he looked at everything, he goes, no, why are we using this number? Well, that's just what we always had, or somehow that got in there. And so to use accurate numbers on Kansas statistics, and so, I mean, again, like you and I, let's just get down to the brass tacks, the bare knuckles of it. You don't have to paint it rosy for me. Give me an accurate perception of where we are. Then let's tackle the issue.
No, okay. So, so if you have a little bit, it always kind of gets me, and it's not just past all legislators. They have something really important. They always wait till the last minute. And why don't they look at it on January the 2nd instead of waiting until March to on something that
Right.
they know there's going to have to happen. Now, I've always wondered that. you know.
Well, I think that's the way it looks, and it is frustrating. Where we're looking at making plans to next year, and some of the things that I would like to see done, and some things I would like to pursue. And so what happens now is we talk to some of our colleagues and say, what about this? What about that? We talk to our constituents. What are their concerns? And we start forming them. And then we bring along legislative research folks to kind of gather the research. We look at other states, what's worked, what hasn't. Has somebody tried it? But then what happens is, as the session gets going, it just it kind of depends on little things here and
Sure,
there,
yeah.
and it seems like then we become so reactionary towards the end. And again, it's that pressure of saying something has to be done, or if constituents or the mass folks want to see something happen, that's when it happens. I agree, Ted. I don't like the idea of the last few days voting on 30 and 40 bills, and we're always either on the phone or we're trying to keep it all straight.
Right.
And I ask the same thing on why can't some of those big issues we get done. Now, what happened this last year is there was some action that took place early on in say in the House. Well, the Senate waited till the end. I mean, again, it seems like it hasn't been that long ago, but it's been a couple months where we were literally down to the last minute to get things done, or we would have lost all the work. And it is frustrating to where even people from your own party have different ideas and different ways to do or not do things, and so. You want to be optimistic. We're going to have new Secretary of State, a new let's see, what else we have that's
Maybe or maybe not a new governor.
well, yeah, right. Well, you'll have a new governor since on their own term, whoever that might be. Secretary of State will be new. Insurance Commissioner will be new, and State Treasurer we don't know, and I guess that's it. So we'll have to wait and see, and so all those factors go into play. So there'll be a lot of discussion really the morning after the general election.
Sure.
That's when things will really get
Well,
because
that makes
we
it
won't know
because-
we won't know till then, and that's where that really time from general election you have about a month, and you have legislators will travel all over the state. They come to Phillipsburg,
Yeah, sure.
sometimes in the middle of the night to talk about wanting to run for leadership positions. They want to say, okay, here's what I want to do, or what do you want to see done, and can we do some things? And so there'll be a lot of that, and then be a lot of, okay, how we move forward. One of the things, we have, let's say with new leadership at Cedar Crest, we have a new budget. We do have the economy doing what it's doing. We do have this issue with school finance. A lot like last session. I mean, that was our focus, but we kind of danced around it till we finally got to it. Now, part of that reason was a lot of work had to be done to get to where that number was. And so once we knew the number on school finance, then you can kind of put all the pieces together. I think that's what's going to happen here. We have, to me, some really interesting ideas on how to find the money if we're going to put more money to schools. One of my thoughts was, Tad, if for some reason the Supreme Court said unconstitutional, we're going to close schools if you don't come back and fix this right away. Well, this is what I think would have probably happened. We would have gathered. There would have been one bill for a constitutional amendment to say the courts will not have anything to do with school funding. We'll vote on it, and we would adjourn, and it'd be up to the people in November to decide. Well, that didn't happen, and so I'm not exactly sure how it works. If people that still want to see a constitutional amendment, if we do that in January, regardless of how you feel on it, I'm a little leery of spending money for a special election, for anything.
Sure.
And I'm always a little concerned when we start opening up the Kansas Constitution.
Yeah.
We did it the last election cycle to add the right to hunt and fish in Kansas. Makes perfect sense, especially in our area.
Yeah.
But still, when you're opening up that document, you have to be very concerned about it. And so, regardless of what those issues are, one of the things I've been talking with is with those who might continue to be leaders in the education committees, And by the way, we'll have a new chairman of education in the House. Clay Arndt from Belleville did not run for re-election, and so there'll be a new chairman there. And I've talked with other folks and leadership that we really want to have conversations about our small schools. In this whole process, Tad, we've focused on our large schools, 5 and 6A schools. And what happens is, and I tell folks that my constituents I talk to that have grave concerns about what the future is of our small 1A schools, our rural schools, and trying to have that conversation of how we can provide what we truly constitutionally have to provide a good education for every student in Kansas. And so, and that's one of the things, whether we like it or not, those are one of the things that makes tenure in it, not tenure, but a longer length in the legislature. As a newbie, you can come down there and have all the great ideas in the world, but you still have to be there a few years before you can get to a position to where
how things work. And
well, that and also then you build up some of
Seniority,
those
maybe.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and so and that's where that's one of the things that and they're not easy answers. They're not. I know sometimes it seems like it's just do this and that and it'll happen. It doesn't, and so one of the things that I'm excited about is one of the schools I represent, Stockton. And they're one of the new innovative schools, and they're redoing some things and doing some things. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's kind of the way they educate the kids, and so I'll be looking forward to that. And how are there some things we can broaden that out to other schools?
The last election we had, things changed. A lot of people got back in there that kind of brought the balance back, and then that could happen again, even more one way or the other. This Constitution about the three branches of the nation, and I'd never been able to figure out quite how the Constitution says. I mean, it's all interpretation about the education.
Right.
It doesn't give you any numbers. The Constitution doesn't give you any numbers or anything. It just says it says you have to provide a good education.
Adequate and equitable.
Yeah. See, that is really tough because it's left up to the Supreme Court, basically, well, the legislature initially, to do it. But then it's up to their interpretation of what the legislature does and how much money is that.
Right, and the Supreme Court doesn't come, and they can't come and say, okay, legislature, you need $500 million additional, or $1 billion, or whatever. They simply just say it's either not adequate or not equitable.
Yeah.
What it shows is that I believe we met the equity position, or is it adequate position? No, I'm sorry, the equity position, but not adequacy. Of course, adequacy is dollar amounts, and that's the thing where that's going to be tough. Again, it's the politics of it. There's politics, and there's a lot of things to it, and so what are people willing to do to either find more revenue, and of course, most people believe you make $1 more than me, you're rich. I'm not, but you are, And so that's what we want to, people that make whatever that either work hard or that gain something through the means of taking a risk and being successful. Well, they should pay more. Or some people say landowners should pay more. There's a number of different factors. And so those are some of the things that people look at. We kind of took that off the table last year, but of course things always come back. There are some things, a couple things to look at. The Supreme Court this year, the SCOTUS in a sense, the U.S. Supreme Court, we're going to bring some things we're going to have to look at. One, the sports book, sports betting.
Yes.
I'm not a big fan of that. I don't fully understand it. But there are some folks, some moderate legislators, if you will, those that have been strong supporters of raising taxes, if you will, that are saying this might be a way to help kind of ease some of those.
Well, it's a use tax kind of, isn't it?
It's like a lottery. I mean, it's a volunteer tax, as I call it. So I don't know. There's a lot to figure out there. what might happen. But I think that's going to probably be something that's going to have a discussion. Now, before people get all excited and say, yeah, we're going to have that, here in the area, I want to go back to the last 3 years that I've been in the legislature. We have, there's been a big push, a lot of money invested in getting horse and dog racing back to Kansas,
Yeah.
and we're still in about step 4.
Yeah.
The other thing that happened was just a few days ago was South Dakota versus Wayfair. That has to do with sales tax on internet purchases.
That was my next question.
Okay.
Is that going to be a big thing, sales tax?
Well, I don't know.
How are you going to collect it? This is what.
Well, and those are great questions, Tab. We don't have the answers. I think what we'll see is you're going to see folks that will, again, come with all different ways of how to do this. I was one in support of it, and to use that money to reduce the sales tax on food. I think we're going to make that push again once we kind of determine where exactly we're going to go with this. There is some concern from folks that is this going to truly hurt those small businesses that have gained, and started going online businesses. And so having only to collect sales tax, say here locally, but say you sell to Timbuktu, Michigan, and what is their tax rate?
Yeah, that's right.
And so right now you have people that are currently writing programs to get this all figured out, and some are already there now. And so that's going to be the thing: is how enforceable is it going to be, and what's going to happen. So I think the one thing is, when we first saw it, we were all excited. Oh, $400 million. I would back off on that a little bit. Because I think it's going to be several years before we really know for sure what's going to happen.
Well, I can see Amazon saying, well, let's say we'll say this is how much was collected. All right, instead of giving the full amount. I'm not saying they will.
Sure.
But
Well, now you bring up Jeff Bezos and his group. He is one that they have been on the forefront of already collecting. Now, Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, probably the 3 biggest ones that people in Kansans do business with, are already collecting those taxes. Amazon, what we found, interestingly enough, they have kind of partner groups, if you will. Say you may you use Amazon kind of as your clearinghouse.
Yeah.
Say you're Bob Soaps. Well, Bob Soaps is as an affiliate of Amazon. Well, he may not be collecting that sales tax, but if you go through the Amazon itself and their warehouses, because there's one in Kansas, and that's kind of why that happens. And so those are some of the things. And so it's going to be probably a year or two before we know exactly for sure how many dollars. As I have always said, when you think you have a new revenue source, we spend it 6 times before we even get that dollar in. So we have to be very careful in saying, well, here's something new to do. Not to say that there aren't maybe some programs that need to be taken care of, but we have a lot of issues. And Tad, one of the things that I continue to fight for is we have to take care of our long-term debt, and we really did very little to get through this year.
okay. And I noticed the paper yesterday, KDOT, that a lot of programs in our area. They're going to be putting a bridge here in Phillips County out here, and they're going to be doing some
Overlays, and they're doing
overlays.
We're doing right.
And it's 383. Is that on? Is that?
It is on. As far as I know, we're going to get that thing done.
Okay, and they had to get out of that there. So all in all, things. I think I can say as a Kansan, I feel much better about the state of Kansas now than I did 4 years ago.
Well, and
5 years ago,
and
6 years.
I think it's cyclical, and I think that's as we're finding out, Tad, on a national level, elections have consequences.
Yeah.
And people that are upset, if you voted, well, make sure your neighbor votes next time. And it all starts locally. It all starts with who you have on the city council and the county commission, your state legislators, and up. Everybody gets so excited about the presidential election, and it's great patriotic thing to vote for the president. But as I told folks, the nominee was going to get the votes. The Republican nominee was probably going to get the Kansas votes anyway. And again, things seem to be going quite well. Yes, there are some issues, and we're not talking national stuff today, Tad. But one of the things that you did bring up, transportation, and one of the things we did pass this year, I'm on the transportation committee. We did pass the task force that will start meeting here pretty quick, and we'll go around the state and find the next transportation plan. And so we're very lucky. Max Dibble, Phillips County Commissioner, is representing counties, and he's one of those members of the, I think, go to all the meetings. I mean, it's one of the commitments he has, but it's good. That's one of the things that I worked on the bill, and it made it through to the final version. Was first they want to say we'll have 2 representatives from the big first district, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yeah. We could have, and no offense, we could have 2 folks from Manhattan or Emporia, and that would be the first district. We have in theory, we could have nobody from Western Kansas. So I proposed, got in the language, and it made it through the Senate. Agreed. The governor signed it. That there's at least 2 from each KDOT district. So we know we have 2 from Northwest and 2 from Southwest, and so on. So that's what
makes sense.
Well, it does, and that way we have. So once they meet, they'll be meeting into the fall. They'll present the report in January, and then that's really when how do we move forward? Yeah. And the biggest thing is going to be how do you pay for it? Yeah. Sure. Do you look at a fuel tax? Do you look at other things? And the thing is, Tad, as we've learned, is you have the best of intentions, but if it's not something that's a true fuel tax. Mm-hmm. Fuel tax goes automatically into KDOT. And if not, it could be used what it has been. It's kind of been used for everything else under the sun. But I will have to give credit to the Appropriations Committee and the Chairman Waymaster, who made sure that in the final version we left more money in KDOT for these projects. And in order to move forward, we have to finish up the projects that have been delayed, and one of those, of course, is 383.
And through the past, they've had 10-year plans and 5, which I thought worked great. And then all of a sudden, they start using the Bank of KDOT to take money out. And we had great highways, and some of our highways now aren't as great as they used to be, I think.
Well,
and because the money couldn't be spent there. And hopefully, we'll get it back in here. And that's a private citizens.
Right. The thing is, and I've said this, and I will continue to say this: have a plan, work the plan, and that's the thing. There's a lot of questions right now, Tad. Will this next transportation plan be a 10-year plan? Will it be a 5-year plan? Mm-hmm. Where's it going to be? And I have always said, in the 3 years I've been there, you want me on board. Make sure that you have a full realization of what's going on in rural Kansas, especially western Kansas. Our fuel costs are a little more, our prevailing wage is a little bit less, and so far most of that money has stayed in the eastern part of the state. 435 and around Kansas City is especially Johnson County side, in Wyandotte County, great road, great highway, but
right, yeah.
But that's the concern, Tad, is some of our highways. Continue to they're in pretty good shape. I mean, you go to other states, you can tell when you cross the state line into other states, all the states surrounding us. But bridges is another thing that we really have to focus on. And I think that's really one of the keys, and that's the argument I have made when it comes to making sure we have representation out here. Yes, the population may be in the eastern side of the state, but there's a lot of produce, a lot of goods that travel the highways out here, and you have to have a good transportation system here to get it to the side of the state.
There are a lot of trucks, and that they pay hopefully their share of the things. And I had a professor in college one time who said sales tax is an unfair tax because if you don't make much, it's still the same percent. If you have so many dollars to spend, 2% or whatever it is, 10%. It hurts one without the money more than it does that have the money. But use taxes, like gasoline taxes, that are good. I mean, they're good taxes because the person who pays it uses it, I think, and that.
Well, and that's it, and that's been that argument with the flat tax, where
See, no, flat, yeah.
some have agreed, some haven't. Right, a sales tax, a consumption tax, or do those really, are they really unfair? I mean, it is. I mean, that's it. It's the same thing. We go. People look at sin taxes.
Sure.
I was looking at the budget numbers. The revenues numbers came in, Tad. Cigarette revenue for the state has gone down.
Well, sure.
And that's been. I mean, we had a lot of discussion in the tax committee about that, Tad. And it's kind of a double edge. Okay, on one hand, people say, well, we have to raise cigarette taxes, and to get people to quit smoking. I agree. Great thing. But then let's not turn around and then rely on those cigarette taxes to pay for other things. And so the other thing we've lost about $500 million in severance taxes, oil and gas.
Yeah.
And so and in our area, I mean, oil is we don't think but oil is a big deal around here.
Okay. Well, anything else?
Boy, what else? I'd probably take more time than what I need to.
That's
Well,
fine.
I think that's it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think many folks are ready for the primary to be here. Though now people really start paying attention. I mean, those that are kind of in it are kind of getting tired of it. But now people really, you folks are going to see a lot of TV commercials, a lot of radio from all these. We've got a lot of
5x7 cards, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. And
I hate those things.
I think they're going to come back now. So those will be coming on. But Tad, with the day after Independence Day, and I just the folks at Agri did a great job last night. That Agri Lake is.
Isn't that something? That's a gem.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a gem.
We had a
Lake.
good crowd, a lot of folks. We kind of snuck over there. Had a great way, but what a better way to celebrate the 4th of July than in our small town. So always great to talk with you, and you didn't ask any really tough. You didn't get me on the no. But I would just say if you have a lot of angst about what's going on, shut it up. Shut the news off. Or the cable channels. I mean, it's it's okay. We as Americans have been through things before. If you think now is a horrible time with the media and other things, go to the local library. Read about those early political campaigns.
Salina Journal had a great editorial yesterday on 1776 and how this country came about. And it said we've lost a lot of what the government's supposed to do. And there really were smart men that did that. You read that, it's amazing what they did in Philadelphia, and how it's lasted. We have a problem, but there's still, I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Well, that's it.
Okay,
That's
fine.
it.
Thank you.
Always good
Ken.
to see you.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Ken. All right. Is that anyone else out there? Is that okay? I want to mention one thing. We've been talking about the community development block grants in the city of Phillipsburg. A chance for the city to get $600,000 a year for 4 years, $2,400,000. It's not your tax money. It would have been a grant. The city could have used that money for streets. City of Phillipsburg could have used that money for the Quan's Reservoir that has to be replaced. That's a $900,000 thing. All those things, if the community development grant, but they had to have a survey, and so many people had to be surveyed. Well, it didn't get done, and all the extra effort put on, door-to-door, phone calls, letters, everything. The city council the other night decided not going to do it because we had to have 120 more people, 124 maybe more people with the survey. So the survey wasn't there. It had to be done. The people, those who decided they didn't want to send the survey in, that's why we've lost about $2,400,000 that the city could have used. So that's dead. So the community development grant's dead. There may be other ways to help pay for this stuff. But it's a thought. So we miss it. We talked about it every Thursday morning here on filling those surveys out. 124, I think, they didn't have. So that's dead now. So the city of Phillipsburg will not have may not be eligible to get that $2,400,000 grant. So that is. Well, that's it. Next week we're going to be talking with Eldine Holthus. He's going to talk about several things. One, he was in a study on Alzheimer's. He's going to talk about that. And Sherry Buss from Hanson Museum will be here. So you have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next Thursday on the Tadpoll.